This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
He's trying to be a Hollywood lawyer, which we said last week. If we want, if he wants his victims to get, like, his victims should be believed, but if he wants it more on the victims and their stories and shaming Deshaun, he's got to slow down.
Nick Morganson. No sports ratings are good right now. Believe it or not, news is what's trending up in the ratings right now. And Nick Federa.
You wouldn't give a chimp access to nuclear missile. You do not give Dan Snyder more power.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Yes, welcome to another edition of Empty the Bench, episode number 79 to be exact. I'm Tom Albano, along with Nick Morganson and Nick Federa. Gentlemen, it has been a week that has pretty much exploded in sports topics.
Oh, yeah.
We've really... And again, it's changed within the last, 8 hours? So now we gotta go right in.
We have the unfortunate luck when we have a whole show prepared, and then you get stories like Major League Baseball and the All-Star Game, and that's where we got to start.
And stories like criminal investigations. We have on-the-field drama, off-the-field drama. We have Twitter drama. And we've got everything from sea to shining sea. So why not?
Damn our timeliness.
Yeah. Timeliness. The blessing and the curse in sports journalism. So let's start with the most trending topic of the week, the one that has blown up actually within the last 24 hours. Major League Baseball has made the decision to move the 2021 All-Star Game and the 2021 Draft from Atlanta due to a opposition to a new voting law that was passed in Georgia recently. There is no announcement as to where the game and the draft are going to be moved as of now, but nevertheless, neither will be in Atlanta, which actually hosted the NBA All-Star Game this year.
Well, what's interesting also, and to kind of go off the footprint of Atlanta, the Masters is also going on in Atlanta, and they haven't moved that, and the PGA has said we're not moving it. So obviously it's not an issue to the PGA, but it's an issue to Major League Baseball. Now, when I was examining this whole story, and the guys know this, I started to question some things. I agree with some things, but there's some things that I don't understand here, which is, we all know Major League Baseball is not the most political sport out of all the sports, right?
I think that's
depends on
changed
your definition of the term political.
I was gonna say compared to say the NFL or the NBA, compared to those two, yes.
When I saw the announcement and I see Rob Manfred come out with the statement saying that we're moving the sport, moving the All-Star Game and the draft out of Atlanta due to this opposing this new voting law, I said, okay, we need to do a little more examining on this and figuring out why. Is it because they have a political connection that they're trying to hold up? Is it a money issue? What is it? We got to figure out more.
Well, if you want my opinion, that I will go last on this one because I do have an opinion that it's maybe rooted in, I think there's an ulterior motive for Rob Manfred, in my opinion.
See, I'm of the opinion that this was not anything other than Rob Manfred trying to head off a mountain of criticism that was actually being
there you go.
Way. Because, man, before we are accused, or before the MLB is accused of being some liberal institution full of communists, there's a lot of conservative and right-wing people have been saying this over the past 24 hours. Need I remind you that Coca-Cola has also come out against this restrictive voting rights bill. And Coca-Cola, the famous liberal institution that owns a private army in Venezuela, to secure water. I mean, they're not exactly communists there. So don't. This was nothing but a business decision. They knew the only thing they care about is not black or white. but green. People were going to get upset and not spend money to go there or to watch the game.
Well,
That's bad for them.
Well, if you're going to go on to that route with Manfred and company, I'll say my opinion now then. I think this was in part because Manfred is trying to, number one, raise his public image, and number two, trying to soothe, let's say soothe tensions between him and the players and the union, because we, of course, have seen the disaster of, the past 2 years with negotiations and company. And, I guess he is trying to smooth things over so as to lessen the chance of a potential strike next year. And can I be honest with you guys? I think it might be a little too late in that department.
Well, the one thing I want to say is, first of all, this does not make Rob Manfred look better. I'm going to say that up front, right off the bat. I actually think, because Tom and I were discussing this before the episode, is this something to do with the Players Association, because they're having this years-long battle and they have a collective bargaining agreement that's expiring after the season, and we're probably going to be in a lockout once the season is over.
Well,
what the heck are we going to do?
Well, like I said, it probably was a business decision, like Nick was talking about, but I think there can be an ulterior motive, and I think there is an ulterior motive for Manfred.
Now, irrespective of the moral implications of disallowing a majority black state to not vote, I mean, putting that aside for a second, because I think we're all in agreement that the bill is a stupid bill. But putting that aside, we must understand that this does not make Rob Manfred look like anything other than what he always is, which is a shameless, craven opportunist.
Agreed. No, and I'm reading the statement, and we'll go over the statement, and we'll go over the Braves statement too, because there was a lot of issues with the Braves statement that people had, and we have a clip package because I scoured the world of news to find out the different opinions of people going on with this story, including, and Nick's not going to like this, including the opinion of Governor Brian Kemp, which is in the clip package, and Joe Biden is in the clip package. So you'll get to hear them all.
I could not believe, I was going to say, I was a little surprised that ESPN and Sage Steele actually got an interview with President Biden. I thought that was just from a presser.
No, I think he did Fox also, so I think he was doing some national media to cover. This story got so much national press. I've never seen baseball get so much national press. That's what's so crazy about this whole story. But to look at the statement,
it's a monkey's paw situation for Rob Manfred. I want more press. Not like that.
Well, what is that? They say bad press. Most press is good press.
All publicity is good publicity.
Which I don't know in this case if that's 100% true, but here we go. So he puts out a statement. Now, by the way, you notice when the commissioner takes charge of something, it's his statement only. It's not the sport. But when it's bad, it's the whole sport making the statement. You notice that, right?
Yes.
So he said, over the last week, we've engaged in thoughtful conversations with clubs, former and current players, the Players Association, and the Players Alliance, among others, to listen to their views. I have decided the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating this year's All-Star Game and MLB Draft. Major League Baseball fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions to the ballot box. In 2020, Major League Baseball became the first professional sports league to join the Nonpartisan Civic Alliance to help build a future in which everyone participates in shaping the United States.
Now, I was going to say, I have to admit, I don't know too much about this bill that has been passed in Georgia, but going on to the point that we were talking about, just based off that statement alone, what about we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. Because he thinks he's doing the right thing, which I think he is, but there's question. It's him. It's I. If it's a bad thing, it becomes the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, I'm taking the credit when things go right. I'm deflecting the blame when things go wrong.
That's that's the Roger Goodell defense, in my opinion.
But isn't that kind of the raison d'etre for a lot of North American sports commissioners? In effect, all of them. Because
Right.
I'm pretty sure I have seen Gary Bettman do that before.
Right. Now, before we read the Braves statement, can you pull up the clip package, Tom? Because this is, I put it down there for you because this is interesting. So keep us to the side because I want us to react to this while it's playing.
Okay.
And
So this is a bunch of clips, like you said, from all
MSNBC, CNN, and Fox.
and ESPN.
And ESPN. I pulled all the major networks because I thought it was interesting to hear the different points of view. So let's listen to this clip package.
And the fans and everybody else right now in the city of Atlanta is like, we just lost a baseball game because you guys were trying to make us stay in line. That doesn't end up helping anyone. And I want to mention this also about not helping. The Atlanta Braves, okay, the white flight Braves that are hiding out in Cobb County right now, they didn't help themselves either. Little advice, shutting up is free.
Well, I commend the commissioner of Major League Baseball and all the team owners for stepping up in this moment to protect our democracy. Republicans have to understand, particularly those in Georgia, you cannot steal your way through elections. You cannot suppress votes. This is not 1930. And corporate America should not tolerate our undermining and subverting our democracy. So I commend Major League Baseball and all of the corporations who are stepping up in this moment.
We have either 7 or 9 days more than New York, where Major League Baseball is headquartered. I guess we should be boycotting, them for having their headquarters in New York because that law is more restricted than ours.
I think today's professional athletes are acting incredibly responsibly. I would strongly support them doing that. People look to them. They're leaders. Look at what's happened with the NBA as well. Look at what's happened across the board. The very people who are victimized the most are the people who are the leaders in these various sports. And it's just not right.
So that's the whole clip package. I thought it was interesting and unique, the different points of views. That's why I put that together.
I just, first thing, don't ask Biden any more sports questions. Because I'm entirely convinced that came out of a manila folder they handed him. Okay, I've got infrastructure and healthcare to work on. Why am I making a statement about this? It's just this is. I can't really put it any more clear than I did before, but I can reiterate to say that this is just, again, we should not have to depend on private businesses to force people to do the right thing.
Well, here was going to be my,
because often they won't.
Well, here was going to be my point, and it's something that we talked about actually last year during the racial tensions and the movements and protests and everything.
And what Biden said about the NBA.
Here's my thing. We can have all these statements. We can have businesses and sports organizations do stuff like this, like move their games and everything. But there's only so much sports organizations and businesses can do.
Well, what I think is interesting, and he brought up the NBA, and you guys brought up the NBA to me when I started to bring up this discussion about whether the game should be moved out of Major League Baseball. Now, I think the NBA situation, what the guys are referring to is when the All-Star game was in Charlotte and the whole North Carolina
transgender bathroom bill.
Transgender bathroom bill. And that was also at a time when there was a lot of controversy going around the LGBTQ movement as well. So what are you going to say, Nick?
It's not necessarily that it was courting controversy. It was the trans community and the LGBTQ community had started to become a lot more visible, and people were actually listening.
No, agreed. I'm just saying, I think they're two different situations. I think they need to be played out differently. And I think that the whole gender equality situation was a major, major story. And I think the NBA jumped a little too quick, too, to move the game out of there as well. Now, with this whole situation with Major League Baseball, I think this was more, like I said, politically tied. So they were afraid to leave the game in Atlanta, and they just said, we're going to move it out of there.
Especially when you had all the other businesses, like, as we mentioned, Coca-Cola, making their movements already.
The one question I'll ask is, if you're not happy with the All-Star game being there, why is it okay to play the rest of the regular season games in Atlanta? That's my question.
Actually, somebody on Twitter did bring that up.
So how isn't that the same thing, kind of?
Not necessarily, because, again, Major League Baseball likes to make a big thing out of the All-Star game, and a lot of people were coming there, that baseball was descending upon the city of Atlanta, even though it's not actually, the stadium's not exactly in Atlanta anymore.
Also, yeah, right now.
Like Derek Johnson said before, the white flight Braves.
No, that wasn't what I was going to go with. And first of all, I thought the Braves were getting rid of everything, like the Tomahawk chalk and everything already.
They did.
They did, but again, this is a separate issue from that.
I was gonna say, yeah, but like when we need a whole stadium packed, a full stadium for the All-Star game as of yet, when we still have COVID going around, and we'll get to COVID in baseball because there's something we got to talk about next.
Well, I want to say one more thing. I want to read the Brave statement, then we can move on from this, because I thought that, and you heard it in the first part of the clip package on MSNBC, where the guy literally says, "Shutting up is free, and the Braves should listen." Well, unfortunately, I disagree with that whole opinion that the Braves should shut up. This is not their fault. They were speaking out because they lost the prestige of the All-Star game. They lost the revenue. They're losing jobs that could have been given to people to work at the stadium. So, unfortunately, I don't agree.
I also disagree because that they don't have a right to be upset, or you have a right to be. You can be both. You can be upset about the bill being passed, and you can be upset about the All-Star game being lost for Atlanta. Now, obviously, I think baseball will try to make it up. They gave Charlotte the All-Star game a couple of years later.
It takes 3 to 4 years, though, at least.
Well, it's going to be 3 or 4 years at least, because next year you have LA, who's owed the All-Star game already because they lost it last year due to the COVID outbreaks.
Well,
and then 2023, if you want my honest opinion, it's probably going to be here in New York, in the Bronx. It should be, because it's the 100th anniversary of the Yankee Stadium and 100th anniversary of the first Yankee World Series. So it should be here in New York. So you're looking at, and then 2026, they have already established it's going to be in Philadelphia to mark the 250th birthday of the nation?
Yes.
So Atlanta's looking at, potentially 2024, 2025 for their All-Star game.
And I want to read the statement, and Nick, I think you'll find this interesting as well, and Tom, you too, because remember how I said, to wrap this up, that when Rob Manfred thinks he's doing an amazing thing, it's him, and when it's not, it's everybody else's fault. So the Braves put out a press release statement. The Atlanta Braves are deeply disappointed by the decision of Major League Baseball to move its 2021 All-Star game. This was neither our decision nor our recommendation, and we are saddened that the fans will not be able to see this event in our city. The Braves organization will continue to stress the importance of equal voting opportunities, and we had hoped our city could use this event as a platform to enhance the discussion. Our city has always been known as a uniter in divided times, and we will miss the opportunity to address the issues that are important to our family. Unfortunately, businesses, employees, and fans in Georgia are the victims of this decision.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You're not even in Atlanta. You're not even in Atlanta anymore.
But
you're only mad because your pocket's being picked.
Yeah, but Nick, it's not fair to the organization. They didn't do anything.
They don't represent Atlanta. They never did.
They have Atlanta in their name.
They have Atlanta in their name, but they're not physically located in Atlanta. All the profits would not go
wait a minute.
from the city to Atlanta. It would be around Cobb County.
Wait a minute. What would you say about the Jets and the Giants who play in New Jersey? I mean,
same thing too.
But don't you feel for the businesses at least?
Yeah, what about the small businesses that are being affected by COVID? Now they're not going to have the revenue they would have gotten from the All-Star game.
Yes, I understand that, which is why it shouldn't have been left up to MLB to make this decision, which is why you can't depend upon private businesses to put pressure on people, because then everybody loses.
Well, wait a minute. If Major League Baseball didn't make the decision, who was going to make the decision then?
That's the problem. That nobody was going to do anything if they didn't fix it.
Okay, then I'll throw one more question out there, and then somebody I think on ESPN on like Around the Horn even mentioned this. Do you think MLB would have done something if President Biden didn't say something?
That's a good question.
Again, they're just apologize for swearing and losing my temper. It's just I'm sick, and I don't think they would have done anything because they don't care about white or black. It's all green. I apologize for the cynicism.
But wait a minute.
That's what they care about.
I know we got to move on, but if it was about the green, then they shouldn't have moved the game out of the stadium, out of Atlanta.
Again, they care about because the bad PR that you get would financially hurt them more than losing the All-Star game, and they know that.
We'll follow this because I'm sure there's going to be more.
I'll say one more point. As I say, this is just my opinion because they're talking about Hank Aaron. This is what he would have wanted. Hank Aaron was supposed to be honored, at Atlanta for the game and everything. If that's the case, then the All-Star game should go to Milwaukee.
That's what I was just going to say.
It should go to Milwaukee. It has to. All right, now we move on. Let's talk about baseball in another negative light with COVID. Of course, gentlemen, opening weekend could not go smoothly. We still are living in the COVID era, and the Washington Nationals, New York Mets opening weekend series. First, it was originally just opening day that was postponed. Now it is the entire series. The Mets are scheduled to open their season on Monday against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Nationals, well, we don't know.
Well, we still don't know if it traced into the other locker rooms. We don't know.
So here's what we know. We know at least 5 players had tested positive. First, it was originally 1 player tested positive. 4 players were in quarantine. And then the next day, it turns out a staff member had tested positive. And then there's been at least 1 or 2 other positive cases among the players. So basically, the entire Washington Nationals team is in quarantine, and we don't know when their season is going to start.
And I don't understand this. First of all, they have massive protocol rules that they're supposed to be following. How the heck did we get in this situation with the COVID business that we're dealing with?
How indeed, and that's up to the CTs to figure that one out.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of blame Rob here a little bit too. I blame Manfred also.
Of course, because that train's never late. I mean, you can always blame him for something. And I'm not being facetious here. I mean it.
we could be a little facetious. I mean, everything. Remember the thanks Obama meme. Well, now we should have the thanks Manfred meme here in MLB.
Manfred.
Appreciate it, Manfred. Yes, appreciate it, Manfred. Oh, Atlanta lost the All-Star game. Appreciate it, Manfred. A team just got COVID quarantined. Appreciate it, Manfred.
You know what? Thanks. Appreciate it, Manfred.
Even the most simple thing. The Yankees just blew the lead. Appreciate it, Manfred.
You know what? I think we're going to have Manfred-isms. That's our new thing. We're going to come up with Manfred-isms for this season. That's our new thing.
Oh no! Sorry.
Actually, this is the one I share with Anthony. By the way,
fantasy lineup.
I mean, but how? Again, why is it that we're still having these problems? First of all, if you had your teams get vaccinated, then this wouldn't exactly be a problem, would it?
Well, I was gonna say. Well, now here's my question. How the heck did COVID get into the?
Yeah, that was my question from before. How the heck did
we wouldn't know if somebody broke protocol, but because that would be a HIPAA violation. But again, I think that's what happened. But how did you let it get this? How did you let it get this bad?
Well, wait a minute. The original report was that someone was exposed to somebody from the outside. That's what I thought I saw.
Well, now. Am I wrong in that I thought, baseball wasn't going to be as restrictive on the players and stuff this year?
They told them to get the vaccine.
I don't know whether that was contingent upon vaccination or what.
No, they told the players that if they should get the vaccine. If they get the vaccine, they won't have to deal with all the COVID testing.
Well, were they eligible for the vaccine or were they jumping? I don't know.
I really don't know. Well, again, these protocols are so labyrinthian, it's hard to follow It's hard to follow what players are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do.
But you know what, though? This screws up the first 2 weeks of the season.
It does.
Because I think the protocol is if you are in, whether it's protocol or positive, you're out for 2 weeks.
I don't know why you couldn't just switch. You couldn't just switch the series. Like the Mets would play their next series opponent.
2 players and now 4 players and once. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Then-
that was what we had.
But what I don't understand, what was the point of the taxi squad if you're not going to use it?
Well, that's
mean,
that's the thing. Originally, they said we're just going to postpone because we'll just use the taxi squad. My suspicion is this. My suspicion. This is just a suspicion. Is that the staff member may have been connected in some sort of way? Like when the staff member tested positive, they said, "Well, the taxi squad idea is kind of moot now." So,
But why? The whole point is that you're supposed to bring these players. Rob Manfred came out when these rules came down. They said we're going to have a taxi squad.
Maybe because the staff member was in contact with basically all of the team. I don't know.
They said it was 4 players total, like Anthony had said. It was 4 players. So if that's the case, you can replace 4 players off a taxi squad.
I guess they wanted to have the CTs do everything they could to find everybody. So they were casting a wide net, and they wouldn't be able to complete it.
Yeah,
but series.
But now what are they going to do with the national schedule?
Yeah, now what are they going to do?
The one thing that's in their favor is that this is divisional, so you can always make up divisional games. That's easy to make up. But the other issue that we're not looking at here is that there's no minor leagues because it got delayed for a month or 2. So it's not like you can go down into the minor league system and pull somebody up.
Right. They delayed it a month for the alternate training site. And now my fear is if more breakouts, continue like this, are they even going to have the minor league season again? And that would be detrimental. Like, remember when I was saying, about spring training, was that some of these guys, when the season was already delayed a month, that some of these guys, haven't seen the field since late 2019, the very start of 2020, that spring training. How are you going to be able to, keep these guys?
How can you expect them to be ready under any kind of reasonable
developed? Yeah.
I just don't want to end up with another situation like last year in the World Series where Justin Turner ended up with a positive test in the middle of a game because we can't follow MLB COVID-19 protocols in a proper way.
Now, to be entirely, as far as I know, MLB has different contact tracing protocols than what is followed by by DC and the state of New York. So
Major League Baseball.
Really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Major League Baseball has got a lot that's got to figure out, both in terms of the Washington's schedule and in terms of what to do with these players and quarantines and everything, their protocols. All right, gentlemen, let's get into another big one here. All right, let me explain why this is such a wide banner. We had a number of developments this week.
Before you go there, I think we said last week that depending on how this story goes, it's going to change how we talk about the story. Well, guess what, everybody? The charges have been filed.
I was gonna say, not that it took a turn. It took 3 turns at least this week.
I think it's one of those British roundabouts where it just keeps going around.
It's a merry-go-round.
I mean, it just, if you can tell by my demeanor, I'm just kicking myself for initially being so skeptical of this. And I mean, I wasn't too skeptical of it, but again, the pomp and circumstance by which, Tony Busby pretty much, announced it with a cannon blast, I really...
Well, that's why everyone was suspicious.
I didn't want to take it seriously, and I'm an idiot for not doing that.
But you know what? This is my whole opinion.
So let's see if we can break down...
Okay, can you do me a favor, Nick? Can you do me a favor? Can you reset that thing, and can you play it at 1.5 times speed?
Oh, I don't have it up on YouTube. I just have it up on my computer.
Oh, it's just like, okay. I thought it would be up on YouTube.
That would have been good, actually.
I was gonna say that at 1.5 speed pretty much sums up how this is developed. So let's start at the beginning. Let me start at the beginning. Context is necessary. When we last left you, after leaving you guys last week.
This feels like a trilogy. It's like to be continued. Now we're back at the next part of the story.
Okay, so then earlier this week, much earlier this week, Deshaun was accused of deleting Instagram messages that could be used as evidence.
From March 15th and before.
Right. So I was going to say, here's my understanding of Instagram is that when you delete a message from Instagram, it pretty much deletes it for both parties as opposed to just one party, which I was going to say, I think if certain apps only delete it for one party, like
So
text
the
messages,
sender and the recipient both can't see it.
according to those who know Instagram better than I do. And
Unless you're Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport, but we'll get to that later.
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Hold your horse.
We are the olds in this equation.
I have Instagram. I know it well, but I haven't really sent messages on there. So then later on in the week, we see I don't want to call it a petition, but it's sort of a petition is the best word I can think of it, but it's kind of a message of support. Let's put it that way. So
it is.
It was 18 massage therapists with names attached. We're not going to reveal those names. You look it up yourself if you want.
Oh my God. When I showed this story to the guys that there were, and it says it right down here, 18 massage therapists voicing support for Deshaun Watson. Now, my mind is like spinning around like The Exorcist, where I'm just like, all right, where do I look this way? Do I look this way? Which way do I look at this?
What part of the story am I supposed to focus on?
Yeah. Well, let me ask this question, gentlemen. If he had 18 massage therapists that had positive experiences with him, why did he need to go to the others?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, we must use the big A, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
This story is ugly on many fronts, and we got to be very careful on the legal front with this whole
Second of all, I mean, I'd be more inclined to believe him if there were only 18 massage therapists working in America at any one time.
Oh.
The problem is there are thousands of them, and the fact that 18 of them said you didn't do anything, and 30? What are we up to now, 30?
30, it might be more. And actually, I just found another message on his Instagram page, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Wait,
I mean, it doesn't cancel that out, is my point.
Right. I was like, oh no. Is this another edition of Nick Morgeson goes searching around Tony Busby's Instagram?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh no.
You're basically conducting a stakeout at this point. I should probably bring you a cup of coffee.
I don't like coffee, but anyway.
And then, so let me just wrap up by... All right, so yesterday on Friday the 2nd came the latest development in that a criminal investigation is now formally going to be launched into these allegations against Deshaun.
So we will be actually following this story as long as it lasts. So instead of a trilogy, it's probably going to be the Bond films where you're going to recast me halfway through with Patton Oswalt. So
I was going to say the Star Wars films.
Yeah, but I'm not going to come back 30 years later and all of a sudden I'm a grouchy old man. I'm still doing Facebook Live.
Oh my God.
Nick, you just pretty much summed up what we're going to be like 30, 40 years from now, doing Empty the Bench on Facebook Live. You know what? TikTok probably will have a streaming service by then, so it'll probably be on TikTok.
I mean, at a certain point, doesn't Aaron Rodgers really need to retire?
Aaron Rodgers is like a corpse on the field.
Hey, LeBron. Hey, LeBron, is it time for you to stop complaining about everything on and off the field or on and off the court? But this
Nick Morgeson ranting on about LeBron like he did 50 years ago.
And he hasn't played for about 30.
Oh my
I tell you that LeBron the fourth, he really sucks.
This is so crazy. I have to read some of this Instagram post.
Oh no.
Because by the way, it's like Ye Big by Ye Y, but I'm only going to read part of it. So I want to make sure. So he said, I have learned that my legal opponent, Mr. Harden, Can we be adults for a change? Would that be
Rusty?
You're not facing each other in a Roman gladiatorial arena.
No, but I say we gotta laugh at the name again because the first name is not James; it is Rusty.
Right. So, as I'll say it again, I've since learned that my legal opponent, Mr. Harden, has a son who is on the exclusive command staff of the HPD, Houston Police Department. I'm not saying in any way that Deshaun Watson's lawyer, Mr. Harden... Oh, wait. Am I reading that wrong? Oh, okay. Uh-oh. What is he saying?
Anthony,
Yeah.
only reason I can believe is appointments. They are booked when he wants them, so he needs another. And apparently it sounds like he needs one for every 4 hours a day.
That's a good point.
Wow.
Definitely a good point.
I'm not
How fighting you that you need that.
Wait, I am not saying in any way that Deshaun Watson's lawyer, Mr. Harden, has a son who has a position that would compromise the Houston Police Department and its investigation. I support his service along with all Houston police officers. I think the rank and file know that, but I am saying that me and my clients will go elsewhere to provide our evidence to investigative authorities.
Well,
This
if you
story
wanna
is
do
just-
that, he's neighbors with Bob McNair, isn't he?
Okay, wait
Yes.
a minute. Wait a minute. Now I'm confused!
This story is just taking turn after turn after turn, and I don't know where to go.
I mean, the dog and pony show of it is really taking the focus off of where it should be, which is the people that he allegedly hurt.
Did I not
Allegedly
say?
sexually
Did I not
assaulted.
say last week? And I said it in the intro that he's got to slow down.
Well, he's not doing it.
And yes, Anthony. By the way, because first he needs the scalp, then he needs the arms, then he needs the feet, then he needs the legs.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one with a... Wait, what was it, a 39 or 40-foot pole?
I didn't mean it like that. You know.
Talk about getting real buzz.
Oh, God damn it. As you said that, this comment comes in.
So Buzz can't gather pollen from Houston because of Harden and Harden Johnson. Shut up, Anthony.
No, don't tell him to shut up. We need him to keep commenting.
Critical, scare him off.
I've known him for 20 plus years. It's okay. I can say what I want.
All right. Let's move to this.
Oh, okay. You know what? Even before we say one word about this,
what has this episode turned into?
We're headed off the rails, folks.
this episode is all stories of craziness.
I mean, well, first of all, context is necessary. Let's see if we can explain to people what happened. So take it away, Mr. Basketball.
So this story hits social media. First of all, Michael Rapaport has probably pissed off every person and relationship he's ever had in his entire life. So one was with Barstool, where I think he was doing podcasts and digital content for them.
I remember covering that in the Unspoken days, the war
Yeah,
between
we
him
did,
and Portnoy. Oh, God.
And then he sued Barstool, I think, for defamation and a bunch of other stuff that he got fired. And he started putting out videos of, well, we're not going to say what he put videos out of because they're kind of inappropriate. Anyway. And then he purposely looks to fight with people. And my favorite is like that he basically is like a whack packer on the Howard Stern show, basically, because that's where he is.
God.
Except he's not actually funny.
He's not funny. He's pitifully not funny.
You're saying he's not Baba Booey?
No.
No. I mean, what? But the issue is not necessarily what he said. It's about what KD said in response to that. So
I'm trying to find the conversation.
It's a double thing because it started with what Rapaport was doing, and then the NBA needed to launch an investigation because of what Katie said. It's a he said, she said.
Rapaport was, I think, on his bat on KD because he didn't.
I found it.
He wasn't playing today. That day.
No, so I found it. So it started with Rapaport. Go figure, right? And he puts out a tweet, says KD seemed deeply in his feelings with the at NBA on TNT crew after the game. Damn it, he's super sensitive about everything. Don't do the interview.
Now we've known that Durant has been very vocal to criticism.
He's sensitive. Just say he's sensitive because he is.
Yeah, he's sensitive to criticism. Yes.
So then KD comes back and says, "You a bitch." And then
we can't repeat a lot of the other things he said.
Well, I can work around it. So then Rap says, just do the effing interview. And if you're upset about something they've said, say something. Up there looking like you were going to cry and S-word. So, and then what did he say? KD says, "I did the interview, you dickhead. Tell your baby daddy Chuck to be better at his job and frame his questions better. He gave me 2 options for that dumbass question, yes or no." I mean, it continues. It's crazy.
Well, first of all, I mean, when you are dragged into a shouting match with Michael Rapaport, when you let him get to you, you've already lost.
Well, KD kind of took this to a very massive turn.
Yeah, he used a lot of homophobic
I was going to say Rapaport is in the wrong for starting this, but KD took it to a level that he did not need to get to.
Wait a minute.
He went from 0 to about 110.
No, he went from 0 to 1,000,000. Okay. And don't you remember they taught us when we were 3 or 4 years old, or maybe a little older, maybe 5 or 6, that if someone annoys you, don't answer them back, even though
you have nothing
anyway.
nice to say, don't say anything.
Right.
So just block him and move on.
No, because public figures are not allowed to do that. Ugh. So he basically says, and I'm going to work around this too, because
honestly, KD would have a lot better of an image if he just moved on from stuff like this.
First of all, KD is the one that's going to suffer more from this because he has more to lose than Michael Rapaport.
Well, he already has. Spoiler alert, if you can't tell by this thing, the NBA has fined him the maximum $50,000 for the language that he used.
Maximum $50,000. Anyway.
And he used a lot of homophobic slurs in that response, that diatribe, I should say. But I mean,
I'll read part of this and I'll be careful with the rest of it. So he said, "I heard it all before you, C-word," which is the one that's being questioned. Chuck doesn't need you as security. Oh, security. I guess that's how Chuck says it. You pale, pasty. Okay, I can't read the rest of it.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
Blankety, blankety, blank.
And then he says, "I swear I'm going to spit in your face when I see your dirty..." Yeah. And then he says, "Bet your life on it. Meet me on West 17th tomorrow at 10. Or better yet, what's your address?"
You're asking for a fight in a TM? What are you
seriously against Michael Rapaport?
Wait. 10 a.m. at Catch Steak on the corner. Meet me there. P-word.
What is it? What is this? Middle school? Meet me at the playground at 3 o'clock.
I'm gonna beat you up. I mean,
I'm gonna beat you up and I'm gonna take your lunch money.
But all he had to do was say, "Hey, I'm Kevin Durant."
Wait a minute. This gets better. Wait a minute. This gets better. Go help the kids in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and stop being a effing puzz.
Wait, is this Rapaport saying that?
That's Rap. And then he said, and then Durant, this is the last one I'll read. "You a B-word for even caring how I do an interview. All you do is," oh my God, "suck," because I'm not going to say the first word, "other men for attention. Trump didn't pay attention to your sorry ass, so now pay attention to your sorry ass. So now you want to see everybody else get views and laughs."
Okay, I'm gonna interject here. I'm sorry. The NBA needs to suspend Kevin Durant. He needs a suspension.
Wait, let me finish the last comment's gonna make you even cringe more. "Your life is a joke. You effing pale C-word S-word."
Okay, now we're going into mental health territory. Nice. Kevin Durant should be suspended for the rest of the season. I'm sorry. I'm saying it now. He's got to go.
I mean, all you had to do was say, "I'm fighting with Michael Rapaport." To whose benefit is this?
Wait a minute.
Nobody.
Wait a minute. And at the end,
when Skip Bayless, who is the most sensitive.
Wait a minute. Put that comment up.
Okay.
Put that comment up. Sounds like they're trying to narrate an angry porno.
I'm sorry. When Skip
like
Bayless,
a bunch of aliens trying to write 50 Shades of Grey when they're high on
gentlemen. When Skip Bayless, who is the most sensitive of media skin and is the most, degrading.
His skin is essentially paper at this point.
And he is the lowest of the low in sports media, is ragging on you and criticizing you to hell for this.
And when
he's winning, and he's right.
What?
When he has the moral high ground, you've already lost.
Wait. You know what? Screw the time. I'm reading some of this a little bit, then we can move on. So he says, suck a D word. Can't wait to tell you all this in person.
If Adam Silver is not going to suspend Kevin Durant for this, even 2 games, then Adam Silver has really lost it. I don't understand.
Dude, seriously. I mean, Rapaport is just going to do what he does. He's a professional troll. Please, he lives off of being a dick to people.
No,
I thought growing athletes and guys who are becoming athletes needed to take media classes because he needs a media refresher.
I mean, oh boy.
I mean
that was.
I just don't even. I love it because he puts smiley faces in Durant on some of his comments. He said, "You called your lawyer like the P word you are," and
because he's laughing at him.
And he said you couldn't talk Portnoy talking shit either. Defamation of character ? Okay, I'm done.
That I'm sorry, that's terrible. And you're right, Nick. It's not enough. The 50,000's not enough. He's got to be forced.
I know we're short on time, but I'll read one quick thing. It says, "How P word are you? Your wife doesn't even respect your bitch ass."
He's got to be suspended at least.
Move on now.
Okay, he's got to be suspended at least 5-6 games. Maybe I went overboard with the season, but he's got to take some games off. He's got to.
He needs a blow, as Skip Bayless says.
Yeah, he does. So the NFL, I'd say this was one of the biggest stories of the week earliest in the week, and now it's come to this. So the NFL is now officially expanding to a 17-game season. So the NFL season starting in 2021, starting this year, will be 18 weeks total. Each team will play 17 games and still have the one bye. The preseason will be reduced to 3 games.
And the final game is a rotator of division, isn't it?
It's going to be basically against a team from another conference that you were finished in the same place. So like the Giants finished in, what did the Giants finish? Second in the NFC East?
Yeah.
So they'll play the Dolphins because they finished second in the AFC East.
That makes sense, I guess.
It makes sense. It's just if Goodell had if he had his druthers, they'd be playing 52 weeks a year. So, and I mean, did the Players Association agree to this yet?
Yes, that's the only way they got it.
Remember, they agreed to the CBA early before it ran out during the COVID.
Oh,
I'd say the only positive I think that the players get out of this is, first of all, less preseason games, so they get right into the action sooner. And number 2, didn't they get more of a revenue share on the new CBA now?
I think it's close. It's close to 50-50, I think now.
So they get a bit of a boost now with the revenue.
I don't see that they would be totally happy with this, but you know.
Oh, Alvin Kamara's pissed about this.
So what? Who cares about?
Well,
they don't care about the players.
Probably because of the running back stuff.
Wait a minute, Nick. It's like you said. What color is the league? It's not black. It's not white. It's green.
Exactly.
And Anthony, you have a good question. I like it, but it's going to open to more injuries. Are they going to expand roster size? I think they might have to. I mean, they're probably not going to. But when I think of that, you know what I think of, guys? Remember last year when within a span of the same week or two, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, all the big stars that went down.
All the running backs went down at one point.
And not just the running backs, but like Cortland Sutton, the wide receiver for the Broncos. There was so many injuries.
Wait a minute. Can we get expanded rosters like we do in Major League Baseball? Can we make like a rule like for the last 2 or 3 games you can have an expanded roster?
I was gonna say maybe expand the practice squad a bit.
Could do that. It's possible.
All right, let's get to these next headlines pretty quickly. So, Angel Hernandez. So, apparently he had sued MLB for racial discrimination, and that case has been thrown out by a judge.
I mean, discriminating against blind umpires, I guess. I know I made that joke already. Again, racial discrimination. It's still a problem. I don't know why that. I don't know.
But Angel Hernandez is not the face of that. Angel Hernandez is the face of a problem of blown calls by umpires in baseball.
You know what? I know I wasn't supposed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I didn't know angels belong in hell.
Oh,
come on! Don't do that. Don't do that. It is a serious issue. Come on.
But come on, this guy doesn't deserve shit. And I'm sorry, he does not. How many calls has he blown in the Yankee Red Sox games alone?
I mean, the MLB should really have been investigating this while he was still umpiring them.
Ironically,
he should have taken what he said seriously.
Ironically, you know who's in charge of this whole situation?
Who?
Joe Torre.
How much you want to bet that's revenge for a bunch of blown calls?
That's revenge for 2018, I guess.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't bring that up, but I can't put anything past these crazy people.
Moving on. So, Nick, what did you say in the intro that we pulled the clip from last week about giving a chimp a nuclear missile? Well,
Okay,
Dan, it's now official. It is now official. Dan Snyder has bought out the minority owners. He is now the sole owner of Washington.
I was being facetious when I said that because I didn't think they'd be crazy enough to actually do it. Because not only have they given him a nuclear missile, they've given the chimp in charge an entire arsenal. They've given him the keys to their cars. They've given him they've given him power over life and death for some strange reason. And why? What has he done to deserve it?
Yeah, pretty much. By the way, we have a comment going back to the NFL topic from Anthony. Expanded rosters in the last 3 weeks. Finally, a good idea from Nick. Emphasis on finally.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he's still able to watch the show after this week.
Oh,
Hey,
don't diss our audience like that. Don't diss our audience like that. All right, and since we do have the time, one last story that we can get to from the mixed martial arts world. Endeavor, the former WME IMG, headed by Ari Emanuel, is going to be now owning 100% of the UFC. So taking everything that, I was reading from, I was writing for Fansided and trying to gather as much information as I possibly could. So Endeavor is now Endeavor had 50.1% ownership. They were seeking to gain the other 49.9%. Most of that was owned by the firms Silver Lake and KKR. There was also a small group of celebrity owners. When they had the celebrities had a small ownership stake. So WME was looking to basically sell equity in their company and then take that and then buy out everybody else. And by the way, Elon Musk is now going to be on the board of directors of Endeavor. Endeavor, of course, is more of a celebrity company that the Zuffa and the original, I'd say the second owners of the UFC, sold to WME IMG for $4.2 billion. And they were the only profitable thing Endeavor had last year because most of Hollywood was basically shut down last year with COVID. So the UFC only took a 2-month break. So they were holding events and everything. So I guess this is a way for Endeavor to basically boost its revenue. The UFC is probably worth, according to New York Post, somewhere between $6 and $10 billion now.
I mean,
so any questions?
I do have a question, actually.
Okay.
Given what we know about Dana White, given that he's, how shall I put this, a few clowns short of a circus, tax write-off? Not a tax write-off. What do you think? This has got to be some sort of elaborate scam.
Well, let me clarify something here. Dana White does not own part of the UFC. He and the Fertitta was part of the Fertitta brothers selling off to WME IMG with Zuffa for the $4.2 billion back in 2016. Dana is, and I think I told Nick Rosen this, he is strictly on the fight side of things. He is a matchmaker. He is the president. He focuses on the promoter side.
Wait, so he doesn't have a stake in the game anymore?
No. Technically, no.
How long has it been since he's had a stake in the game?
About 5 years.
What? Really?
I mean, he
might have a small stake. I don't know,
but he makes it seem like he does. So.
Well, again, he's the public face.
He's the president. He's the guy that is in charge of making all the fights and making the money for the company.
Right. And all he had to do to achieve that was to sell his soul and not really care about the health and well-being of his the human beings that he employs to fight for him.
Well, I was gonna say, this story kind of ties into how John Jones is once again at war with the UFC over fighter pay.
I was gonna say he's doing a good job of making money. He did get Conor McGregor to fight again.
Yeah, Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier are gonna have their third fight in July.
After you had told us that it was probably not going to happen.
It's a matter.
I said it was probably gonna happen. We don't know when.
It's a matter. He wants to build another proper 12 distribution center in the States.
He wants a title again, I guess, even though he hasn't had a meaningful win in years. And Nate Diaz is going to come back, and they're going to actually have a non-title co-main event that's going to go 5 rounds.
Now, don't challenge him on that because he.
That's official now.
Again, don't challenge Tom on this stuff because he knows he's been immersed into that world for. And I don't know how you still have your sanity after all that.
I don't think I do, Nick.
Yeah, that pretty much flew out the window when Khabib retired.
See, you need to see if you can get an interview with Conor McGregor. That's the way to go.
Oh, God. And no, I'm not bringing Combat Mania back out there. Shut up.
No, I didn't say that.
I have one last comment here from Anthony. Public face always seems bigger than what they are, and best scapegoats when needed. Yeah.
Yeah, but
hey, Rob Manfred, we're talking to you.
But I mean, the word scapegoat implies that he didn't burn the house down, and I think that a lot of the problems have been compounded by Dana White. So,
are you applying that to Rob Manfred as well?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, just wanted to make sure. Okay, we actually managed to get through all of that in under an hour. Hey, on fire. That's going to do it for this edition of Empty the Bench. Make sure to follow us across all our social handles. You can see right there scrolling on the bottom. And next week, we reach our 80th episode.
Yay! Wow.
I don't know what we're going to do when we hit 100, but we probably won't do the reverse thing again until mayty next April.
We don't have time to talk about it.
But I hope you all enjoyed our April Fool's gift of an episode 78 in reverse.
Yeah, and have a happy Easter to everybody who celebrates.
Yeah, and I'd say everybody who celebrates Passover, I hope you had a great Passover. Everybody who celebrates Easter tomorrow, have a happy Easter. And yeah, that's going to do it. Like Nick said, we'll probably not do talking in reverse and sounding like angry, very angry people in a language that nobody can understand.
Angry people talking in a different language. I'll leave it at that.
That nobody can understand. But that is going to do it for us. So, for Nick Morgeson and Nick Federa, I'm Tom Albano, and we'll see you next time on Empty the Bench. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody!
Good night.